In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers ventured deep into the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. They were young, skilled, and fully prepared for the harsh winter conditions, but none of them would ever return. What investigators found weeks later on a desolate mountain slope was so bizarre, so terrifying, that it shocked even the most hardened officials. The case was quickly closed, the file sealed, and the official explanation made almost no sense. More than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the most disturbing and deeply chilling unsolved mysteries of modern history. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student and a seasoned mountaineer. His team was not made of amateurs. Every single member had completed difficult winter expeditions before. Their goal was ambitious: to reach Otorten, a remote mountain in a region known for its brutal weather. It was a serious challenge, but one they were more than capable of undertaking. On February 1st, 1959, as the sun began to set, they established their camp on the slope of a mountain the local Mansi people called Kalat Siakal, which translates to Mountain of the Dead. That night, under the freezing Siberian sky, something went horribly, catastrophically wrong. When the group failed to return by their scheduled date, their families grew worried. A search and rescue operation was launched. On February 26, after weeks of searching, rescuers finally located the campsite. What they discovered immediately raised alarms. The tent was still standing, but it had been sliced open with a knife from the inside. All of the hikers' personal belongings, their coats, boots, food, and cameras were left behind, neatly organized. It was clear the 9 hikers had fled their only shelter in a desperate hurry, rushing out into the lethal cold without proper clothing. Temperatures that night had plummeted to below -30°C. In those conditions, without protection, survival would be measured in minutes, not hours. Over the next few weeks, the grim discoveries began. The bodies were found scattered across the snowy landscape, some nearly a mile from the abandoned tent. 3 more bodies, including Igor Dyatlov's, were found between the tree and the camp, seemingly trying to crawl back to the tent. They also lacked adequate clothing for the extreme cold. The initial cause of death for these 5 was ruled as hypothermia. The mystery was far from over. 2 months later, the remaining 4 hikers were found buried under more than 10 feet of snow in a ravine. Their discovery turned a strange case into a truly horrifying one. These 4 had suffered catastrophic internal injuries. One had a crushed chest with forces compared to that of a high-speed car crash. Another had a fractured skull. One of the women was missing her tongue and eyes. Yet, strangely, their bodies showed no external signs of a struggle. There were no bruises, no cuts, no weapon wounds. To make things even more bizarre, there were no footprints in the snow other than those of the hikers themselves. And tests on some of their clothing revealed unusual levels of radiation. The official Soviet investigation was bafflingly brief. After a few months, it was abruptly closed, and the final report concluded with a single, cryptic sentence: the hikers died due to a compelling natural force. No further explanation was ever provided. The case files were classified and sealed, and the entire area around Dyatlov Pass was restricted to the public for years. The families of the 9 victims were left with no real answers, only a void of grief and suspicion. Why the secrecy? What was this compelling natural force? Over the decades, dozens of theories have tried to explain what happened that night. One of the most popular is the avalanche theory. This suggests a small slab avalanche struck the tent, forcing the hikers to cut their way out and flee in panic. But this theory has major flaws. Investigators at the time found no evidence of an avalanche. The tent was only partially collapsed and was still standing on the slope. The footprints leading away from the tent showed an orderly, calm descent, not the chaotic scramble you'd expect from people running for their lives. And most importantly, an avalanche doesn't explain the brutal internal injuries, the missing tongue, or the radiation. Another prominent theory points to the Soviet military. In the late 1950s, the Ural Mountains were a known site for secret weapons testing. Some witnesses in a nearby area reported seeing strange orange spheres or lights in the sky on the night of the incident. Could the hikers have accidentally stumbled upon a classified military exercise? This could explain the government secrecy, the swift cover-up, and the restricted access to the files. This might even explain the radiation. But to this day, no declassified documents have ever confirmed any military activity in that specific area on that night. The theory remains pure speculation. A more unusual theory involves infrasound. This is a phenomenon where certain wind patterns passing over a mountain-esque topography can create low-frequency sound waves that are inaudible to the human ear. However, exposure to infrasound can induce feelings of intense anxiety, nausea, dread, and overwhelming panic. Proponents of this theory believe the hikers were driven into a state of irrational terror by infrasound, causing them to slash their tent and flee without thinking. While this might explain their bizarre behavior, it does nothing to explain the devastating physical injuries found on the last 4 bodies. It's an interesting piece of the puzzle, but not the whole solution. This leads us to the realm of the unknown. The combination of strange events, the tent cut from within, the hikers fleeing half-dressed into a blizzard, the bizarre injuries without any sign of a fight, the missing body parts, the radiation, and the iron curtain of silence from the authorities has led some to believe the truth lies beyond any conventional explanation. Whether the compelling natural force was a secret weapon, rare natural phenomenon, or something else entirely, it seems the full story may have been deliberately hidden or was simply too strange to be recorded. In recent years, Russian authorities have reopened the case, but their conclusions have only added to the confusion, often circling back to the avalanche theory without addressing its inconsistencies. The Dyatlov Pass Incident is more than just a tragic story of 9 lives lost. It's a mystery that has endured for over half a century, a cold case frozen in the Siberian snow. It's a haunting reminder that sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that are true. What drove 9 experienced hikers from the safety of their tent into a deathly cold? And why was the truth never fully told? Until every single detail can be explained, this case will remain one of history's most chilling unsolved files. Thanks for watching. If you found this mystery as fascinating as we do, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the unknown. See you next time.